What's up, guys? It's Hot Wheels NASCAR. I know I haven't posted in a while. That's because I've been super busy with stuff, kind of sports and school and things of that nature, but I just got back into making videos. I'm finishing up Season 2 right now as we speak. I'll be filming that over the course of my week off break from school. Anyways, I just want to make a video giving my reaction to yesterday's championship race. It was super good, super exciting. I loved every moment of it. Part of that being I am a huge Joey Logano fan. So anyways, this video, before I go any further, is just my reaction to the race, my thoughts on it, my review kind of. I want to get into doing this more next season. I want to get a more professional setup, just kind of give my thoughts on NASCAR. So anyways, this is my thoughts on the Championship 4 race. As I mentioned, for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge Joey Logano fan. I just have some cars sitting on my desk. So I got into, by the way, I got into rooting for Joey Logano in 2017. I was in a store, just a Target, and I saw a NASCAR diecast on the shelf, and I decided I wanted a NASCAR diecast. So I went through them all, and I ended up picking out this Joey Logano car, this one right here. That's how I decided I was going to root for. From there on out, I started watching NASCAR over the 2017 season. Joey ended up missing the playoffs. It kind of sucked. So this year it was really cool to see him make it to the Championship 4 because he was supposed to be some hot shot. He was supposed to be really good when I started rooting for him because at that point he made 2 Championship 4s, won a Daytona 500, all that good stuff. Was supposed to be the 2015 championship, all that stuff, and then 2017 just straight up missed the playoffs. So he made it this year, so that was super exciting. Loved the finish at Martinsville. One of my personal favorite races, obviously, because it was a great finish, and then Joey was the one that ended up winning it. Anyways, the race at Homestead, I thought it was really good, and the Homestead I think is a great race for the final track, or a great track for the final race of the season, just because it's kind of unique, it's different. It is one of those 1.5 mile tracks, but it runs differently than all the other tracks do. It's really abrasive, tires wear out super fast, kind of like Atlanta, but there's multiple lanes. It's not like Kentucky or Kansas, especially Kentucky. You get to Kentucky, and it's a one-lane track. There's no passing whatsoever. There's only one lane you can run. At Homestead, you can run anywhere. You can run the high line like Larson does. You can run low on the track. You can run in the middle of the track. You can go anywhere on the track and find speed, which is super nice. I really like it for that reason, and that's why I think it's so good. The 1.5 mile track is NASCAR's signature track. We have a bunch of them on the series circuit, so I think it's appropriate to end the season with one of them, but especially one that promotes a lot of racing, a lot of passing, different grooves, all that stuff, because that's what makes racing exciting. That causes passing, changes for the lead, all that good stuff, and that's what we saw at Homestead, Miami, and that's why it was such a good race. We had, I think, probably six different cars really led laps throughout the race. At one point, throughout the race, at least one, or every Championship 4 driver led at one point during the race, which I thought was absolutely great. Denny Hamlin took the lead early, obviously because he started on the pole. There was that whole debacle with the pit stall changing. They allowed Kyle Busch to have the #1 pit stall because he qualified second, but since Denny qualified first, he just didn't choose it so Busch could get it. Honestly, I think that's kind of BS. I don't think drivers should be able to do that. I don't think you should be able to switch pit stall assignments like that. I think there should be a rule. If you get the pole, you should get the #1 pit stall. I get changing crew members and stuff like that. That makes sense. But like pit stalls assignments and when teammates try and help each other, when one's not in the race, or one's not in the final for the race and the other is, teammates letting each other pass or giving each other a lead. I think that's kind of BS. I don't like that. If you saw at Martinsville, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Brad was out, Joey was in first. Brad raced Joey hard for the lead. No team orders there. That's what I think NASCAR is all about. It's all about winning championship stuff. So anyways, wasn't a big fan of them switching pit stalls. I thought that was total BS. Anyways, early in the race, Denny Hamlin had the lead. He led for probably about half the first stage, if I remember correctly. All the cars looked pretty fast. Harvick was coming up through the field. He started in 12th. Everyone else started in the top 5. So Harvick was coming up through the field, showing good speed. All the cars looked fairly fast at that point. Joey looked really fast at the start and then started to fall off. I believe Harvick ended up getting by him. Anyways, as the stage went on, it was pretty uneventful. Harvick managed to pass everyone and take the lead. It looked like he was the class of the field. Meanwhile, Truex, Kyle Busch, Logano were kind of just hanging back there. Busch looked fairly fast, actually, at that point. We then got to stage 2, and again, Harvick just looked like the class of the field. At that point, for both stage 1 and stage 2, the sun was out pretty much the whole time. The track was still pretty hot. It hadn't really gone through any changing, so Harvick was absolutely dominating, and then at the end of stage 2, Larson started to become known. He was running that high line he always runs at Homestead, Miami, and was absolutely dominating. Ended up passing Harvick at the end of the second stage to take the lead. So Harvick finished second, and again, Logano kind of faded at the end. Truex showed good long run speed. Busch had some trouble with pit stops, all that stuff. He had that problem all day. He couldn't get a good pit stop to save his life until the very end. But yeah, Busch was just struggling. So then we got to stage 3, and Joey Logano got an absolutely fantastic pit stop. And that was one thing that was really interesting. Pit stops, they played a really big role. I don't know if it's just because they were talking about pit stops more during the broadcast, but I felt like they played a lot bigger role than they do in most races. Maybe that's just because they were talking about it more and I was paying more attention to it. It's always different when they do the championship 4, when it's the championship on the broadcast at least, because they only focus on 4 drivers, which is super weird. Usually they're bouncing all over the place. They're talking about everyone in the top 10, all that good stuff, different storylines going on. This, they really only focused on the championship 4, which is, it's saying a lot because at the end of the season, there was a lot of stuff going on. Jimmy Johnson's last race with Chad Knaus, last race with Lowe's. It was Matt Kenseth's last race. I think they mentioned that maybe once throughout the entire broadcast. By the way, Matt Kenseth finished 6th. I don't know what was going on there. Excuse me. Anyways, just noticed that. Anyways, with stage 3, it was a pretty clean race for the most part, not a lot of cautions. Stage 3 ran green until about lap 20. Joey Logano took the early lead on the restart. It was pretty clear at that point. Stage 3, as it continued on, it became pretty obvious that Joey Logano and Martin Truex had the best cars. Joey Logano was really good on the short runs. Meanwhile, Truex was really good on long runs, so we'd restart. Joey would jump out to the lead, and then after about 20-25 laps, Martin Truex Jr. would run him down and then just drive off. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick was still kind of up there, but he didn't have the same car. It was clear his car was not as dominant, nowhere near as good as it was in the first 2 stages, and Kyle Busch was just nowhere to be seen. He had a bad pit stall, got put back in traffic, and just couldn't go anywhere. He was stuck in 6th or 7th place for most of the 3rd stage. Anyways, green flag pit stops began. Kevin Harvick pitted 1 lap before Truex and Logano, and that proved to be huge. He pitted 1 lap, just 1 lap. But that allowed him to make a 4-second deficit and like a 2-second lead on Logano and Truex. Anyways, Harvick came back onto the track. Logano managed to pass Truex on pit road. So Truex came out 3rd for the championship 4. Logano was trying to run down Harvick, so was Truex. And then Truex ran down Logano, and then they couldn't. And then Truex was running down Harvick. However, Kyle Busch made a gutsy, or actually I don't know if it was gutsy, it was the only move they had at that point. They stayed out on the racetrack. Adam Stevens called for Kyle Busch to stay out on the racetrack. And for the first time in my life, I saw staying out on the racetrack pay off and get a caution flag. I've never seen a driver stay out on the racetrack, not take tires, pray for a caution, and get it. I don't, it just doesn't happen. It's a Hail Mary. You never catch that caution. And it happened. He was about to have to pit. He was probably going to have to pit around 20 laps to go, 15 laps to go, they said. And on lap like 22, with 22 to go, Daniel Suarez crashed. And my immediate reaction was, okay, I was convinced that Daniel Suarez had wrecked. Joe Gibbs had come over like, hey, we need a caution. Just wreck the car. Someone cause a caution so Kyle Busch can get his lap or get back on pit strategy, whatever, so Kyle Busch can have the lead, because he was in 1st at that point, and because Miami's so abrasive, everyone was going to have to come and get tires. Anyways, it happened with Daniel Suarez. He tried to go 3-wide with Brad Keselowski. It was really, really stupid. I was kind of questioning at the time, but I wasn't too upset because I knew it played into Joey Logano's hands. Joey's had the best pit crew. It's been clear Joey had the best pit crew throughout the playoffs. He also had the best short-run car at the time, so really it played into his hands. He pitted in 5th. He came out 3rd on the racetrack behind Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. He had a great stop, and everyone knew Joey Logano had the best short-run car. So the question was, could he make it work in the final? I think it was like with 20-ish, 16, somewhere around there to go. They restarted. Anyways, Kyle Busch chose the inside, Truex chose the outside, and Busch got absolutely torched on the restart. Like I said before, it's clear Busch just didn't have the car that the other 3 had. He was nowhere near the top 5 during stage 3. He couldn't be in any positions. Eric Almirola, Clint Bowyer, people like that were passing him. So he restarted. Truex blew by him on the outside, and at that point I thought it was over. I thought Truex was going to set sail and take it because Logano hadn't shown the ability to catch him. And I knew he had a good short-run car, but I wasn't so sure it was going to work out just because Truex got such a big lead so fast. But Logano managed to catch him in the first turn, and then from there just set sail and just ran down Truex. I think in 3 laps, he took down the lead, and with an absolutely crazy move. I thought he wrecked the car, and the announcers were saying this too. He absolutely throws it into the turn, just going insanely fast. I thought he was going to be in the fence. I thought it was over. I was like, oh my God. Joey, what are you doing? It's a complete, like, desperation-looking move. He just blew by him. He made it stick somehow. I don't know how. I would have been scared out of my mind if I even, like, tried that. Absolutely incredible move. Blew by Truex, and from there, Truex just couldn't do anything. Logano ended up winning by almost 2 seconds. It was a really great race. Like I said, a lot of passing, a lot of changes for the lead. We saw Harvick and Larson trade the lead a couple times earlier in the race. We saw Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin battle it out at the end of the race. Truex and Logano were passing each other back and forth. Just a great championship for a race. And the nice thing is, it was done cleanly. There was no drama. No one wrecked each other. None of the championship 4 crashed or anything. It was all really, really, really well done. We know there was drama between Logano and Truex, and I was scared out of my mind. I thought Truex was just going to dump Logano at some point. He never got the opportunity to because he couldn't pass him. But Logano passed Truex cleanly, didn't have to move him. And I'll maintain that moving a driver is clean. If you wreck a guy, yeah, that's dirty. What he did to Matt Kenseth in 2015, you could probably say that's dirty. What he did to Truex at Martinsville, that was a clean move in my mind. Bump and run, see it all the time. What Kyle Busch did to Kyle Larson, he wrecked him. That's one of the, it's not, he says he bumped him, but he spun Kyle Larson out at Chicagoland. I call that dirty. If the guy spins out and wrecks, it's dirty. If you bump him and he moves up the track like Harvick did to Busch earlier this year, it's completely clean. Anyways, that's just my thoughts on the race. I'm super happy Logano won. I was so hyped. I was jumping up and down. I was super stoked about that. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I'm going to start writing scripts for shows next year. I'll be doing power rankings, stuff like that. I'll be writing race reviews. This is just kind of off the top of my head done right now. I don't really have a formal setup, kind of weird lighting. It doesn't look very good. But, yeah, that's all for now. Races will resume next week, so look out for Charlotte. I believe it's race 8. So I'll see y'all later. Peace.